What's up, family? Taylor, local trucker here. Sitting in my wife's truck, man. About to go fill it up for the week. Just wanted to touch bases with you guys real quick. Or should I say not real quick, rather. I started this channel about 3 weeks ago. And I think it's time that I kind of share the story of how we got here. Especially after having Bible study yesterday and having such a great sermon in church. The book of James talking about being merciful and not passing judgment. And God has been merciful and no judgment passed to me. I wanted to just touch bases with you guys and share a little bit of my story. You see in the title, from Felon to Trucker, how getting my CDLs changed my life. You know, it was 2020 when I got convicted with, I want to say, my 4th or 5th felony conviction. Another probation term. I terminated from a job that was paying $60,000, the GM of a fast food establishment. Wife pregnant with our first son. Child number 3 out of 4. Moved back into my mother-in-law's double wide. Not really knowing what to do. Son was born leap year 2020. Out looking for a job later that year. Landed up at Clayton Homes doing a little bit of construction. But child support from a previous relationship was taking a nice chunk of money out the check. So I still needed something a little bit more long-term, a little bit more feasible. Ended up getting let go from that job. Was out looking for another job, thinking about flipping burgers again with my wife. Seen a post on Facebook saying that in North Carolina they have this, I think it's WIOA or WOIA, I'm not sure what the acronym was, but this initiative that if you qualify, they would pay for a trade like CDL or CNA, barber, nursing, things of that nature. So I immediately went over to the NC Works office in the town we were living. Applied for the program, got in, and so went to CDL school. License was $4,000. I didn't pay a dime. Paid for by the state of North Carolina. All praises and glory to God. But that's just a real quick beginning of it. Let me tell y'all how God really works in people's lives, man. And I'm just recently baptized, recently saved. I'm not on here to give you guys a religious spiel. That's not what this channel is about. But I am going to express my faith, just a little bit. Like I said, we just had our son, back in leap year of that year. And my wife actually turned out to be pregnant after he was 1 year old. When he was in daycare, my wife was teaching, still is teaching at this nail academy. That being said, obviously, I'm now about to go to trucking school, which was great because, like I said, we needed something way more feasible, something way more career-oriented and long-term. So this trucking school was actually being built or opened up, a new trucking school in the town we were living there. Would have been 10, 12 minutes from the house, right around the corner from my son's daycare. It worked out really well. It was 4 weeks, 7 to 5. My wife was teaching in the daytime. Girls were in school, son was in daycare, so it worked out really well. Went to take my test for the first time. I pointed out I didn't pass doing the alley dot. Aced my pre-trip, did well on the straight line, did great on the offset, but pointed out on the alley dot. In this school, man, the instructor started a new class every Monday, so for the first 3 weeks of it being a new school, we only had one truck, one tractor, one trailer to operate with. And it wasn't until week 3 where he got a second truck, which was actually a day cab. instead of the sleeper that we was originally operating with. And like I said, he started a new class every Monday, so we started with 16 students, and then went to 24, then 30. And, you know, obviously some people dropped out, more came, some went on Saturdays. I even took advantage of going a couple Saturdays just to, you know, get a little bit of seat time, because that many students in 2 trucks, one for the first 3 weeks, you really only got in the truck maybe 2 or 3 times a day out of a 10-hour day. So like I said, I pointed out on the alley dock. The instructor was kind enough, though, that he said if anybody fails their test the first time around, you can continue to come to class free of charge and get practice in. So out of the first set of us who went, only 2 had passed. And those 2 each, if I'm not mistaken, their fathers had drove trucks or did drive trucks, so they had some time practicing, getting in the seats, understanding maneuvers and things of that nature. Everyone else failed. One girl even decided to downsize to get into Class B's. And that's no diss or knock on getting into Class B's. It's just that the test is different. You don't have to test with the tractor. With the trailer attached to the tractor. So I kept going to class after I failed the first time, getting in the seat, practicing, getting in the seat, which is why I stress on this channel about staying in the seat when there's something that you're very uncomfortable with and unsure about. When it was time for my retest, we were testing in Wilson. That's why I failed the first time. So the Wilson DMV called me and says, hey, this is about 3 days before my retest. Hey, we're gonna have to reschedule your test, Tavion, because a couple people down here got COVID. Will you be available for the 9th? I said, as in the 9th, as in next week? They was like, no, the 9th of next month. I said, no, I'm sorry, that's not gonna work. Reached out to my instructor, who been in the trucking game for a long time. He was actually licensed or certified to give us our exams, but the school had to be open for 6 months. So that's why we had to still go to the DMV. He called around, he got me scheduled at another DMV site, the one in Smithfield. Now here's a real good part of the story, guys. He puts me assigned to this DMV in Smithfield to take my test. I get down to Smithfield, guys, and the test site is set up the exact same way it was in school. The exact same way, identical. So not getting too overly anxious or overly confident, but I was a little excited, like, oh yeah, we're gonna murder this today. Did all 3 backing maneuvers, not a single point. Went out on the road, did the road test, no infractions, got my license on the second go round. I say that was God at play because I was the only student that went to that DMV. Every other student went back down to Wilson who failed. The only one. I say it was God involved because that school was put in the same town that I lived in. I didn't have to go 2 towns over to go to CDL school. I say God was involved because the state of North Carolina paid for my license. Tell you a little bit more how I got involved. My first trucking job was with Trans Am, a second chance company. Like I said, had felony convictions on my record. Trans Am gave me an opportunity, and I will forever be thankful to them for that. Went to Trans Am for a month. My first run was from Florida to California, y'all. No offense to any females listening, but talk about getting your cherry popped on your first go-round. I drove 10 and 2 all the way. 53-foot sleeper, lift gate on the back. Whew, fun times, but we did it. We made it cross country. Picked up another load in Cali, brought it back down to Georgia, went home to North Carolina for the weekend, picked up a load in Virginia, took it to Iowa, picked up another one down in Virginia, took it to Florida, and then I got a call, which was great. I got a call from this local company in the town we were living in to roll flatbed and dry van. and I jumped on it immediately, because being on the road when you have a spouse and children, it is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Probably is the hardest thing I ever had to do. My wife was still pregnant. The pregnancy was difficult. She was getting scares from the doctor saying that we were gonna have to do an emergency C-section and take the baby early. My 1-year-old stayed sick because he missed me so much. It was ridiculous. And all that, I had to stay focused on the road to not get in no accidents and not get hurt, not hurt nobody. So I immediately, jumped on that opportunity to come home and run flatbed. Here's the kicker, guys. I told you I got my license from this trucking school. Shout out to Regal Academy in the town that I was living in. When I came back from off the road with Trans Am, that trucking school was no longer there. So all in all, let's say 2.5, 3 months that school existed, and now it's not there. And I was a part of the first class of students that got their license. And that's why I say it was nobody but God. That school was put there for me. For me. And this location and how close it was to my home, the testing site that I went to was for me. The opportunity was for me. And that's why I say what God has for you is truly, truly for you. So I'm running a flatbed company. Now, this is not my second trucking job. Didn't really make any money with Trans Am, although I was only there for a month. They paid 31 cents a mile. No real money. It was even worse at the flatbed company, but I'm taking my licks because, as they told us in trucking school, you got to pay your dues before you can really see a nice income. And so I did, and I was doing okay. First starting out, making about $1,100 a week gross, and then child support kicked in, and of course taxes. So I'm bringing home, close to $800 a week. Not bad, being local. Companies, not too far from the house. But then he hired a couple more drivers, and instead of doing 2 loads a day, we were doing 1 truck. The check basically got cut in half. But at this point now, I done got 6, 7 months of experience in. So I'm on Indeed, and I'm looking. And I stumbled across US Foods. And I put in an application for US Foods. And as you already know, I'm at US Foods now. Shout out to I'm Anthony TV, man. I looked at his channel quite a bit, trying to get an understanding of what the food service game was like. Because you need to know what you're getting into before you're getting into something. Because it won't just about getting in for the money, y'all. I needed a career. I needed something long-term that was going to take care of my family, that had benefits, that had life insurance, that was going to get us out of the situation we were in. And it ain't always just finances. It's about longevity. And that's what it was about. So now here we are, almost 2 years in at US Foods, and we're living better than we ever have. My wife drives a Honda Pilot with a 3rd row that fits the whole family. I got a nice work vehicle that I drive up and down the interstate. I live an hour away from the yard, and it's all worth it. It is all worth it. Kids go to great schools. My boys are growing up nice. And it's only the beginning. Been able to pay down some debt a little bit. It doesn't really hurt or feel the pain anymore as far as the amount of money that I'm paying in child support that comes out of my check every week. Oh, let me add a little bit more of God's work to the story, y'all. Now I said, and this is no lie, I'm a convicted felon. I went from felon to trucker, from unemployed to 6 figures. You know these trucking companies do background checks, okay? Now I was very transparent with every company that I applied with. That's why I'm forever grateful to Trans Am, because they're a second chance company. A lot of companies told me I need to be 5, 10, 12, 15 years removed from the conviction date before they could even consider me being a driver for their company. And I'm talking regional, OTR. I was just trying to get in where I could fit in. Told the recruiter at US Foods, hey man, these are the felonies that I have. Will it be a hindrance to me in my application? He said, everything is case by case. We'll cross that road when we get there. I said, okay, cool. Proceeded on to do the DOT physical, did the drug screen. About 5 days later, background came back from Higher Right. Higher Right does a very, very, very thorough background on prospective employees. Guys, my background report came back, no record found. I literally checked that thing 20 more times. Like, this is my name, yes. This is my address, yes. Birthday, yes. Social, yes. I know I got a record. I know I do. Came back, no record found, y'all. Immediately got the call from US Foods. Hey, can you start on Monday for orientation? Absolutely, I can. And here we are. What's for you is for you. And when God has it for you, can't nobody take that away, y'all. That's why I'm so adamant about being positive and understanding that God gave me mercy. He passed no judgment on me. So I must be merciful and not pass judgment on others. And I was frustrated and aggravated in the beginning of my tenure at US Foods because, like I said, again, shout out to I'm Anthony TV, Illwise, RLC TV. Those guys I was looking at right before I started US Foods. But you kind of research, try to get an understanding of what you get into, but you never really know what you're into until you get into it. And then I had to learn that some things are just the way that they are, and it works for that company, and you just have to roll with the punches. So that's what I do now. So I try to find silver linings in every situation, trying to find ways to continuously be positive, be motivational, be inspirational to others. I've shared this story with a few of my coworkers, and when they used to ask me, yo, Tay, how do you drive an hour away, one way, and then an hour back just to do this job? And I share that story, and they say, I understand why. That's why I'm so adamant about giving my time to US Foods when I'm there, and then giving all my time to my family when I'm home, because I could have not been here. I could have been doing a bid. I could have been still over the road if I'd have made it that far. There's a lot of different things that could have just been playing out, but those wasn't in the cards. That's not what God had for me. So I cherish my wife, my children, my opportunity, my time at US Foods, and I'm very thankful. So that's how I went from Felon to trucker, guys, and that's how CDL changed my life. God worked through my wife, who then worked through me, because if you'd have asked me 3 years ago, Tay, you ever consider getting your CDLs? Nope, absolutely not. I'm used to flipping burgers, dog. I'm gonna go continue to run these restaurants like I do, like I'm used to doing. I've been working in food service since I was 15. I'm just on the other side of it now. And I wish I'd have did it so much more sooner. So guys, don't get discouraged. No matter where you at in your journey, no matter what you're going through, keep your faith, keep your hope, keep your perseverance. Change the way that you see yourself, so that the way that others see you will also change. That's my time, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope y'all found some value in this story, let alone this content. More than liking it or even commenting it, please do me a favor, just share it. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but I'm gonna continue to put out content. But share this with somebody who you think or who you may know that's going through a tough time. We all got a story. We all got our go-through. And my go-through may not be like your go-through, but I went through my go-through. And it's the same for you. Continue to work, y'all. Continue to press. Y'all stay blessed. We out.